The salvage yard stretched endlessly under Kepler-7's twin suns, a graveyard of twisted metal and broken dreams where Alexander Chen made his meager living. Oil-stained coveralls hung loose on his thin frame as he welded a cracked plasma conduit, sparks dancing across his protective visor. The pay was terrible, but it kept him and his younger sister Nora fed, barely. The thunderous crash that shook the entire yard made Alexander drop his torch. Through the shimmering heat waves, he saw the massive crater that had appeared near the far perimeter, smoke billowing from whatever had fallen from the sky. His first instinct was to call the authorities, but the reward for salvageable alien tech could mean real food for a month. Alexander grabbed his toolkit and jogged toward the impact site, expecting to find twisted spacecraft debris. Instead, he found something impossible. Two creatures the size of cargo haulers lay motionless in the crater, their scales shimmering between deep emerald and molten gold. Even unconscious, their presence radiated an ancient power that made Alexander's teeth ache. Dragons. Actual dragons. Like from the old Earth legends his grandmother used to tell. But these weren't the majestic beasts of stories. Both creatures were clearly juveniles, their wings torn and bleeding, their massive flanks rising and falling in labored gasps. Deep gashes crisscrossed their bodies, and one dragon's left eye was sealed shut with dried blood. Alexander's hands shook as he approached. Every instinct screamed at him to run, but seeing their injuries triggered something deeper. The same protective urge that made him work 18-hour days to keep Nora in school. "Easy there," he whispered, pulling medical supplies from his toolkit. "I'm not going to hurt you." The nearest dragon's golden eye opened, focusing on Alexander with an intelligence that was unmistakably sentient. Instead of fear, Alexander saw something heartbreakingly familiar, the same desperate hope he'd seen in Nora's eyes during their worst days. For the next 6 hours, Alexander worked with steady hands and a racing heart. He cleaned wounds with industrial antiseptic, sealed gashes with emergency biofoam, and jury-rigged IV drips from hydraulic tubing. The dragons remained still, somehow understanding that this small human was trying to help. As the twin suns set, both creatures' breathing had stabilized. The injured eye had cleared enough to reveal another golden iris, and the worst wounds had stopped bleeding. Alexander sat exhausted against a nearby rock, watching his unlikely patients. "Alexander?" Nora's voice echoed across the yard. His 16-year-old sister appeared at the crater's edge, her school uniform wrinkled from searching for him. "You missed dinner again, and I was worried." She stopped mid-sentence, staring at the dragons. "They're hurt," Alexander explained simply, as if finding injured dragons was perfectly normal. "I couldn't leave them." Nora studied the scene with the same analytical mind that earned her top marks in xenobiology. Their bone structure suggests they're from a high-gravity world. These wounds, they look like weapon burns. They were attacked. Both dragons stirred at her voice, turning their great heads toward the girl. Alexander tensed, but the creatures only watched with curious eyes. "We should go," Nora said quietly. "If someone was hunting them—" A deep rumble interrupted her, not threatening but almost like a massive cat's purr. The larger dragon was looking directly at Alexander, and somehow, impossibly, he understood. Gratitude. These ancient beings were thanking him. Alexander spent the night in the crater, using his portable heater to keep the dragons warm. Nora brought blankets and hot soup, sitting beside her brother as they kept vigil over creatures that shouldn't exist. When dawn broke, the dragons were strong enough to stand. They moved with careful grace, testing their wings and nudging each other with obvious affection. Brothers, Alexander realized. They were brothers. The larger dragon approached Alexander, lowering his massive head until they were eye to eye. In that golden gaze, Alexander saw recognition, respect, and something that might have been a promise. Then, with powerful wing beats that sent debris flying, both dragons took to the sky and disappeared beyond the clouds. "Do you think we'll see them again?" Nora asked, watching the empty sky. Alexander shrugged, already calculating how much work he needed to finish before lunch. "Probably not. But that's okay. They're free now." But Alexander Chen, poor mechanic of Kepler-7's salvage yards, was wrong about many things that morning. He was wrong about never seeing the dragons again. He was wrong about the significance of what he'd done, and he was catastrophically wrong about the identity of the two young dragons he'd saved. High above the planet's atmosphere, in a ship that dwarfed most space stations, The Dragon Emperor Thaxion received a message from his sons. The message spoke of unexpected kindness from an unlikely source, of a human who risked everything to help creatures he didn't understand, asking nothing in return. The Emperor's ancient eyes, golden like his son's but infinitely older, narrowed as he considered this information. In 3,000 years of rule, he had learned to value mercy above strength, wisdom above power. This human mechanic possessed both. The next day, the Dragon Emperor made a decision that would change everything. As Alexander welded another broken conduit, unaware that his life was about to transform forever, a shadow fell across the salvage yard. Above him, wings that could eclipse small moons began their descent.